when I saw Star Wars for the first time. It was all practical and real. You knew it when you saw the movie. So I felt that the standard had to be authenticity. The standard had to be reality.
We wanted to make sure that wherever we went in this movie, you always felt that you were really there.
We needed to find somewhere completely from another time and place. Rick Carter stumbled across a picture of Skellig Michael, which is an island off the Irish coast.
I got an email from Rick Carter. He sent this link, and it was Skellig Island. And JJ immediately wrote back and said, "I love you. Oh my, this is the best."
In Star Wars, what's so great is the places matter. They actually are really related to who the characters are.
I remember when we all flew in, it was special, and we knew it.
I can't believe they let us shoot there. I mean, it was so beautiful.
We were just blown away by it because it's an extraordinary place. It certainly fed into our Star Wars universe.
The Irish Film Board were behind us 1,000% and worked countless hours to help pull off what we needed to on Skellig.
Very, very happy to be here on Skellig Michael today with J.J. Abrams and a wonderful Star Wars film which is shooting on this island.
It's just amazing. The scenery is amazing, the heritage is amazing, and the wildlife is amazing. People are going to see the beauty of this area.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to see Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's now like one of the biggest movies ever in the history of the world, but I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about some of the Luke Skywalker Jedi BTS from the movie. This is just a fun behind the scenes on Skellig Michael, which is actually a really important island in the history of Ireland itself, which tells you a little bit about the way they use it in the movie. Now they don't really talk about it in this video, but the island itself was home to this ancient Christian monastery, but even before that, it's said to be the final resting place of this really important progenitor of Irish culture. So in the movie, Luke Skywalker travels to this place looking for the original Jedi Temple, for the beginnings of Jedi culture. So you can see how the real-world significance of the island becomes really special significance for the movie. Back to the beginning of things. That's why in the video they said they had to get special permission to shoot there. And they've already been back there since they finished filming Episode 7 to film more Episode 8 scenes. Mark Hamill had to grow his Obi-Wan Kenobi Luke Skywalker beard back. And I'll just say real quick, spoiler warning for Episode 7, I'll be talking about specific things from The Force Awakens. So we know that before the events of Episode 7, Ben, when he split from Luke Skywalker's new Jedi Order, destroyed the temple. So at some point, the Jedi will probably flourish again in the galaxy. It'll all probably start back at this place. Now, as much as we've been picking the movie apart, we haven't been talking too much about the nature of the Force in this new trilogy. And J.J. Abrams confirmed they didn't throw out all of the Lucas canon from the prequels. Like the big addition that George Lucas made to the Force in the prequels was Qui-Gon Jinn talking about the living Force. Now, there are two main aspects to the Force they discuss in the films. If you go into the expanded universe, which is now, technically not canon, there's a third aspect to the Force. When Obi-Wan Kenobi is telling Luke Skywalker in Episode 4 about the Force being this energy field that penetrates and binds all living things in the galaxy, he's technically talking about the living Force. It gets a little backwards with Qui-Gon Jinn in the prequels, because when Qui-Gon Jinn talks about the living Force, there's also the cosmic Force, which is kind of the new idea. That's the midichlorian part of the Force, like the conscious part of the Force that communicates to individuals through midichlorians. Now already this sounds a little bit complicated, which is why I think wisely the new movie doesn't even try to address it. I think it's to their benefit to not over-explain the Force, but that's what all the novels are for. And now that we know that Rey is going to be a Jedi, we know all about Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren, Supreme Leader Snoke, the expanded novels will probably start pushing into that. Even though Anakin Skywalker is the big figure of the prequels, it's all about introducing his character, his rise and fall. I think that Obi-Wan Kenobi is actually one of the bigger protagonists of the prequels, because in it, he learns about the different aspects of the Force. And it's in that time between Episode 3 and Episode 4, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is growing old on Tatooine, waiting for Luke Skywalker to grow up, that he is learning about the living Force, communicating with the Force through midichlorians to learn how to become a Force ghost. And in order to become a Force ghost, you have to understand the living Force. Now, they actually address this in the Clone Wars Season 6. If you haven't seen it, they released it on DVD. I think it's on Netflix too. You might be able to watch it on Netflix. But in it, Yoda learns about the living Force and learns how to create Force ghosts. You learn all about Force spirits. That is all, thankfully, still canon. I know everybody always wonders about the Clone Wars. Clone Wars is still canon.
You are late. We have been waiting for you, Master Yoda.
How did you know coming I was?
Jamie King did the voice of all 5 of the
She's
priestesses.
all of them.
Yeah.
Jamie had a great time. She's someone that can take on that challenge, and we had to come up with these archetype voices for each of the identities. I don't want to ruin any greater mystery of this whole thing for you, but the way that I reconciled what that being is it's actually one being. It's one ancient being separated over time that for our perception to be able to see her, she is these many different iconic things presented to us. But she died a long time ago. She is conscious in the Force, and she has a limited ability to manifest. What we're getting at is why Yoda and Obi-Wan are able to do this, and why other people can't. There's an existence.
Because it's been done before.
It's been done before when he learns it.
We are confusion, anger, sadness, joy, and serenity.
It's unsettling. So you're not sure when Yoda's talking to her, is she good? Is she evil? Again, because we're thinking in those terms. And that being is not existing on those terms, really.
A lot of you have been asking the really important question, are we going to see Force ghosts in the new trilogy? I would say probably at some point. The closest we got was when Rey had the Force visions, where the lightsaber gave her the visions. Technically, you would say the midichlorians gave her visions, but I think it's to the benefit of the new trilogy to just not mention them specifically. Very controversial midichlorians, but just because they don't mention them doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just a way to explain how the Force communicates with people. Now, there's an extra aspect of the Force that the expanded universe novels get into called the unifying Force, where it's like a combination of the dark side and the light side of the Force. In the novels, Jacen Solo attains a more complete understanding of the Force than anyone's ever had before and becomes this super Jedi where he can harness the dark and the light. That is kind of where they're going with the Kylo Ren character based on what Supreme Leader Snoke is talking about in the novelization of the movie. I've done a couple Easter egg videos that I'll put links for in the description, but in it I talk a little bit about how Snoke really likes Kylo Ren because he started out as a light side Jedi. He hasn't always been a dark side Jedi. It sounds like Snoke wants to create this super Jedi, and he needs someone who can balance the light side and the dark side. Now, Snoke is the big villain of the movie, so obviously he wants to use Kylo Ren for some sinister purpose. But if you take the position that Rey and Kylo Ren are on parallel arcs, then Rey and Kylo Ren will be this conduit for the new trilogy to give us this more complete understanding of the Force. The Force is grand and mysterious. It's much more complex than this binary good, evil, light, dark thing that we've been led to believe by previous films. But that's just because we haven't seen characters explore it yet, which is where I think they're headed with Luke Skywalker trying to go back to the original Jedi Temple, trying to learn things that were lost over time. You get the sense from the prequels that the Jedi had become so dogmatic that they had just completely shut off certain areas of study. If you're a big Game of Thrones fan, the Maesters are a good analog for that. Like, the Maesters absolutely hate magic in Game of Thrones. They really like science, really hate anything mystical. So the Jedi of the prequels just have like certain aspects of the Force they don't want people studying or learning about, meaning that new students have a lesser understanding. So I'm really hoping that we get to push into really mysterious aspects of the Force. Let me know in the comments though, what do you guys want to see the new films do with the Force as a story device in this new trilogy? Now, obviously, episodes 8 and 9 are the anthology films. That's where most of the big storytelling is going to happen. But that doesn't mean the spin-off films like Rogue One or the Han Solo film won't have anything to do with the Force. One of my favorite things that I heard from people that work inside the Star Wars franchise is the idea that Han Solo might be using the Force without realizing it. Like, he doesn't understand it. He's like this crazy mumbo-jumbo religion. But the idea is that Han Solo is such a good pilot that maybe when he's getting his jam on with the Millennium Falcon, he's using the Force without realizing it. That is the back door for Finn to be Force sensitive. I know everyone wants to know, is Finn Force sensitive? He was using the lightsaber, he was pretty good with it. He's a highly trained stormtrooper, so he's a good fighter anyway, but maybe he is also Force sensitive. The reason I think they didn't try to answer that right away is because they just wanted him to be a badass without being a Jedi. They wanted you to focus on Rey being the new Jedi. But when Supreme Leader Snoke said, "There's been an awakening, have you felt it?" to Kylo Ren, I think he was talking about more than just the Rey character. But what I'm expecting from episode 9 is for them to just kind of tease that out a little bit more. We'll get to see a lot of Jedi, a lot of dark side training. Kylo Ren needs to finish his training, just like Rey needs to start her training. So let's just speculate away in the comments. This is going to be one of the most fun things to do between films. Just trying to speculate about where they're going with Jedi, with dark side Force users, what happened to the Sith. It sounds like the Sith are gone and the Knights of Ren have replaced them, but I guess we'll find out. And congratulations to last week's giveaway winner, Bruno Lopez. You win the IMAX gift certificate. Just be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. Just in case you guys haven't seen them, I've done 3 Easter egg videos. You can click here for that. It's like my big Star Wars playlist. And you can click here to learn all about Spider-Man and Captain America Civil War. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.